publication, for potential peer review in that particular outlet can be something that you can do to speed up your publication experience. Get in touch with journal editors before you write your papers. Big international journals, Nature, Science, The Lancet, they are wanting authors to do this. So there's no reason why you can't do this yourself for any piece of work, for any submission that you might make. We recommend that authors do this. Make a pre-submission inquiry, make many pre-submission inquiries. There's nothing stopping you from writing to 50 or 60 different journals with the same overall letter and asking, would this work be suitable for potential peer review in your journal? So you can be effective, you can save valuable time. Journal selection can be important. So we recommend, of course, that you have a list of journals, a key list of journals in your field that you would like to see your work published in, a ranked list of 5 to 10 key journals in your field, aiming high, but choosing appropriately. So, as I mentioned, there's no limit to the number of pre-submission inquiry emails that you can send to editors because you commit to nothing. Expedite the process. One of our key insider recommendations then is that you do this. You make pre-submission inquiries, you write to editors, write to as many as you like, select that target journal effectively. Indeed, we'll give you an email template as one of the takeaways from our session today so that you can be more effective when you write those pre-submission inquiries to colleagues, to editors at international journals. This will help you with your target journal selection because, of course, if an editor comes back and says, hey, that's great, I'm really interested in seeing that paper in our journal, then you've already got yourself ahead of the curve. You're already ahead of the game when it comes to picking a journal. So get ahead of the curve. Communicating effectively at this stage in the early pre-submission phase of manuscript work can speed up your experience. Making pre-submission inquiries. Why not? You've nothing to lose. You can write to a number of target journals. Dear editors, we are considering submitting a manuscript to fill in the blank journal that is currently titled fill in the blank. I've included the working abstract of our article below. It's important to tell the editor why your study is important. Our study identifies fill in the blank, why the work is important, why the work would potentially be interesting and suitable for that particular target journal. Very important, something that you can do as an author to maximize your success. The other thing, in terms of insider recommendations at the early stage, of course, is the use of preprint servers. Are they worth using? Lots of people ask us about preprint servers. What are they? Online repositories for academic work. You can put your work there before peer review, before online publication. Put your work out there on a preprint server, on a reputable preprint server that other colleagues within your field are using. Then colleagues can come, they can look at your paper, they can comment on your paper, and corrections, input from the community, communication from your research community can significantly enhance the quality of your paper. People ask us, won't I get ripped off? Won't my work get stolen? Well, no, because your priority and author IP, author intellectual property, are protected on a preprint server by what's called a Creative Commons license. So nobody can take the work and reuse it because that would be stealing. Your work is CC licensed, it's there on the server, it can be cited, it can be used before it goes to a journal for full peer review. And so the advantages of using preprint servers include that your work can be shared very fast with other interested researchers. Peer review can happen fast and open if appropriate. And what often happens as well is that journal editors monitor preprint servers. They come in and they select work that they think would be appropriate for their journal. So let's imagine you put something onto bioRxiv, one of the major biology preprint servers, or medRxiv. The editors from the Lancet, the editors from Nature and Science, they're monitoring these preprint servers. Research Square is another famous example, and they'll come to you and they'll say, hey, doctor, we'd like to see your work published in our journal. So worth doing, another way in which you can expedite the process as you think about doing your next paper. I'll give you a comprehensive guide to preprints also after the webinar, but we are expediting that process. We are giving you insider recommendations to speed up your publication process to communicate more effectively. So we've talked about what preprints are. We've talked a little bit about author concerns. If you have questions, if you have concerns, please do put them into the chat box and we will come back and we'll talk about this at the end of our session today. So into the submission system goes your article, either directly submitted by you or transferred from a preprint server. And you've made that journal selection initially before beginning to write by thinking about which journals would be appropriate for your study, and also by potentially reaching out with pre-submission inquiries to journal editors at the outset to speed up the process. So what happens next at the journal is that editorial triage takes place. Desk editors, people like me, look at submissions and they ask themselves, does it fit with the journal's scope? Does the article have a clear message? Is it original? Is it important? Is it true? And is it relevant to our readers? Very important initial step. Editors will be making a decision about your paper as to whether or not it should be sent out for peer review. Big journals, Nature, Science, they reject lots of papers before the peer review stage. They reject often up to 9 out of 10 submissions without sending them out for peer review. This is editorial triage. So what have you got to do? You've got to communicate effectively. You've got to sell yourself to get your work through the triage stage. High impact factor journals want to maintain those high rejection rates, of course, so you have to have a clear message. 9 out of 10 papers sent to Nature and Science get rejected before peer review. So let's think about strategies to get our work through that first step of article submission, the editorial triage stage. It's just like getting hit by a bus. You get rushed to the hospital. A doctor at the hospital in the emergency room decides what's going to happen next. And it's no different with academic articles. So there we go. Let's continue. I hope that the audio is working. I see that some questions coming into the chat. If you can't hear me, then please drop me a message into the chat box and we will try to fix the problem. The academic publishing cycle. The academic publishing cycle. As we go round and around our hamster wheel, we can identify together areas where you can more effectively communicate as a researcher. One of the key areas in communication when making a submission to an academic journal is, of course, having a great cover letter. Your cover letter is critical. Don't waste the opportunity to sell your work. Most authors don't bother with a cover letter. We get lots of submissions to our journal that just say, please consider this manuscript for publication in your esteemed journal. It's boring, it's dull, it's derivative. So make sure that you put the time in to write an effective cover letter. Tell the editor why they should take your work seriously. We get lots of cover letters that look like this. This is the worst kind of cover letter. It's saying nothing. Authors don't upload a cover letter at all. We've all been there. It's 5 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock. We want to get out of the university. We want to go home. We are making a submission. Up comes that little submission box on Scholar One, on Editorial Manager, on Open Journal Systems, asking us to upload a cover letter. Nobody wants to do it. So lots of people don't bother, or they upload something that looks like this. Dear editor,